Coming up on Down Under EV Adventures, removing the Build Your Dreams badges from the Atto 3. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and this is a special episode, removing the Build Your Dreams badges. So as I hinted at a couple of episodes ago, I've been thinking about maybe removing the top badges since I saw a loan car without them and I thought it looked quite nice. So I thought I'd give it a go. Now, I'm going to leave the Atto 3 badges and the EV badge on there. I've got no issues with those, but I thought the top part of the sort of above the light bar there looked good without them, so they're the ones I'm going to take off. Now, you can search on YouTube. There's a good episode which shows you how to do that. So I'll put a link in the description of the video which I had a look at. So credit goes to Steadfast Detailing. The majority of it I followed. I did change a few little things. I had a few other little hints which I can pass on, but they do a great video. So if you want to have a look at theirs as well, you don't necessarily just have to look at mine. You can see what they recommend as well. And of course you will need a few items to do this, but I'll just put them on the screen as we do it. I won't, list them all beforehand. So you will need probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to do this job, so just be aware of that. And it's a little bit boring in parts, so I suggest you do what I did. Put some headphones on, have some good music or a podcast. I can recommend Joe Satriani, and just, get lost in some music while you do it, because it can be a little bit boring, like scrubbing pans. Alright, anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so the first step is to give your badges a good clean, and that's just to get rid of any grit or dirt that's around there, and that will help when you need to do the next step, which is to try and remove those badges. So use a microfiber cloth, don't use a scourer or anything like that, because that's just going to scratch the paintwork. So use a good quality microfiber one. I use Enjo cloth. I've got an Enjo Auto cloth I use, and another type of Enjo cloth, and they seem to do the job really well. So that's your first step, clean the badges. Now step number 2 is to heat the badges up with a hairdryer, and then you can use some fishing line then to actually scrape the badges off, for want of a better term. So yeah, just use any old hairdryer, something that you can use to heat up the badges, and you'll just do it in bits and pieces. So maybe do one of the words at a time, heat it up for a little while. And I did notice when I did it that you really want to make sure that you heat the badge up as long as you can. The longer you heat it up and the warmer it gets, the easier it will be to remove it. Okay, so grab that fishing line, give yourself a good length so you're able to wrap it around your hands a few times so you can really get a good purchase on it. And later on you'll see I actually use some gloves because it can dig into your hands a little bit. And then have a go at then scraping the badge off. So remember, heat those badges up, heat it up nice and good. Just heat up the one badge that you're gonna do, and then use the fishing line to get underneath it and to just scrape it off. So you'll find that you'll be able to get underneath the badge, you'll be able to scrape them off one at a time, as you can see here. And again, just heat it up quite a bit, because the more you heat it up, the easier it will be. The first word here that I did, the dreams word, so that was the hardest one, because I don't think I quite heated it up the first time. And you'll see it's leaving behind, like the silver bit, the badge will come off, but it's leaving behind the black bit, which is like the tape will be left on there. Now once you've got those badges off, the silver badges off, then you can start to clean off the glue and the sort of tape. Remember, it's just really like a double-sided 3M tape which is really holding the badges on. So yeah, it's nothing really fancy, but of course it's stuck on quite well, and the tolerances are very low on them, so there's not much room there between the badge and the surface of the paint. Now what you can do here is use the hairdryer, heat gun, whatever you're using. Use that in addition to the microfiber cloth. So as well as using the moisture to loosen that glue, the heat will also help as well. So yeah, just apply it on there even while you're doing it, and just put the heat over the next couple of letters you want to do, and then just use this to get rid of most of it. You just want to get most of it off, and that's sort of your job that you're doing here. And as it's softening up, you might be able to find you can pick some of the bigger bits off with your fingernail. So you won't do any damage to the paint if you do that method. Like I said, don't use anything harsh. Don't use a scourer. Don't use any metal or anything like that, because you risk damaging the paintwork. So yeah, just soften it up, use the glue, use the microfiber, and then you'll see here I'm picking off some of the thicker bits with my fingernails. Some of the thicker bits here, I can actually just peel them off. And it's, as you can see, it's getting less and less and less there that's left on there. At this point, should be what you're left with. So you've got rid of the majority of it, and now the hard work sort of is going to start. So what I did in this next step was I went and got a little bit of alcohol and I diluted it with water. So any sort of spirit should use. I just used gin and I diluted it with a bit of water. And then you can see I've got another Enjo cloth here. This is actually a sort of a dishwashing cloth for Enjo. And then sort of rub some of this alcohol mixture into the words just to sort of soften it up a bit, and that should help you get rid of some of it as well. Now some of the oil-based cleaners also work well, and also what's also not very harsh is just ordinary dishwashing detergent, which I also use some of that. Now you will have to spend a little bit of time here doing it. And then after you've done this for a little while and you've got rid of quite a lot of it, most of it, you can do what I did, which is my little tip. And that's the next step. And at this point, I collected up all my badges and I thought, I might hang on to them. And I thought, well, maybe the next person who buys the car might want to use them. And then I thought, maybe I can use them. Maybe I can make a different word. Maybe I shouldn't have it blank. What should I put there? Murder? So audibly. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm not quite a serial killer, but hey, if you are, maybe you'll put that on the back of it. Alright, but bad jokes aside, let's go on to the next step. So at this point, I decided to leave the cloths on there for a couple of hours with moisture there, just to get it to really soak into what was remaining there of the badges. And now I'm ready to do a bit more hard yakka and clean that final bit off. Okay, so we're nearly done here. So this is probably one of the most time-consuming bits of the job. It's quite hard to get rid of some of that glue. You just got to persist with it and use those microfiber cloths to really rub into the surface, and just gently just keep going back and forth over all the spots where you see the little black marks. And we're nearly done here. I'm pretty impressed by the paintwork too on the Atto 3. It's pretty darn good. And it's come up pretty nicely. So yeah, a bit of scrubbing, but I think it really helped to soak that for a few hours just with a damp cloth to get in there and really loosen it up. That looks pretty darn good. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. And I'm going to leave the Atto 3 badge. And I'm happy to leave the EB badge as well. It's pretty unintrusive. But this one, I think it looks nice and clean. So there you go. Alright, so there you have it. That's how I remove the badges anyway. And like I said, you can jump over to that link and check out what the guys did there at that detailing place in Sydney. But, you know, with a little bit of work, you can do it. You just, like I said, you'll have to allow those couple of hours. And I really think leaving then a couple of damp cloths over the remains of the glue and the tape there, where the badges were, really helped. So that when you had to clean off that last little bit, you had that moisture in there, which really helped, I think, to get rid of the last little bits. Alright, so if you wanted to try that, there you go. Good luck if you do. Just be very careful. You don't want to damage your paintwork. So make sure you don't use anything harsh to clean it off. Okay, so I won't be held responsible for any damage if you try and do it, okay? Alright. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. You all take care out there on the roads, and we'll see you very soon with more great stuff on Down Under EV Adventures. Take care. Bye for now.